Welcome back to the Daily Bollocks. Welcome to The Conflict Entrepreneur. In this presentation, we are deconstructing the financial and operational mechanics of Tommy Robinson's digital extremism network, focusing on a critical period from mid-2024 to April 2026. This is not about politics. This is an audit of a highly lucrative grift. We begin with the asymmetry between the broadcast facade and the operational reality. The public is sold a carefully crafted narrative of a bankrupt, persecuted working-class hero who is silenced by the elite with frozen accounts and no assets. However, the operational reality reveals a highly funded network utilising international tax havens and elite billionaire patronage, all feeding and indirectly mobilising conflict entrepreneur. Let's look at the escalation timeline, showing exactly how legal consequences are monetized. In July 2024, the inciting incident occurs. Robinson is stopped by counter-terrorism police at the Channel Tunnel. By September 2025, he capitalises on this with the massive Unite the Kingdom rally in London. In October 2025, his jail sentence becomes a broadcast trigger to launch the Save Tommy emergency begging campaign. By December, he's dodging bailiffs for unpaid court costs. Finally, in April 2026, academic studies validate exactly how he weaponizes this timeline to radicalized followers online. Let's dive into the financial forensics of that July 2024 Channel Tunnel interception. Robinson was detained under Schedule 7 of the Terrorism Act. The evidence? He was driving a silver Bentley Bentayga, a highly unusual, high-value vehicle for a lone driver taking a long trip. He was found carrying £13,370 plus €1,900 in undeclared cash, travelling on an Irish passport to the Spanish resort of Benidorm. He immediately weaponized this stop as state persecution to solicit donations, while concealing the luxury vehicle and massive cash reserves from his donor base. Fast forward to October 2025 and the weaponization of the justice system. In a courtroom, Robinson pleads guilty to all 10 charges of breaching a High Court injunction regarding a Syrian refugee and is sentenced to 18 months in prison for a planned, deliberate, direct, flagrant breach. Simultaneously, his team launches the Save Tommy checkout cart on Urban Scoop. They claim an emergency status, warning that his bank froze his account and he would face trial without legal counsel. The grift? Robinson already had top-tier legal representation, and Elon Musk was actively stepping in to cover his legal bills for his concurrent counter-terrorism trial. By December 2025, we see blatant asset evasion. The debt ledger shows bailiffs dispatched to his parents' house to seize assets for £103,000 in unpaid court costs. His defence is an airport phone call from Norway claiming, "I've got no assets." Meanwhile, his revenue and lifestyle ledger is booming. He ships thousands of pounds of cheap Bangladesh-manufactured merchandise for his rallies. Simultaneously, he takes 6 luxury foreign holidays in a single year, utilising a foreign identity fin to establish Spanish residency and potentially shield assets via crypto accounts. This operation is now heavily fuelled by elite patronage and transatlantic expansion. Elon Musk addresses the September 2025 Unite the Kingdom rally via video link, stating violence is coming, and publicly steps in to cover Robinson's legal bills for his concurrent counter-terrorism trial. Robinson leverages this new elite status to pivot his funding model away from just the UK working class. On his US media tour, appearing on major platforms like the Gillian Michaels podcast, his call to action is explicit. He instructs American audiences to cancel Netflix and divert those subscription funds to his independent channels, solidifying a recurring digital subscription revenue model. To achieve this global reach, a calculated strategy was deployed to mainstream extremism. The obsolete neo-Nazi street-level aesthetics were abandoned because they were universally rejected and financially unviable. The pivot substituted biological racism for cultural racism, adopting a highly produced modern populist model. The red alert here is that Robinson has not moderated his extremism, he's simply corporatised it, trading street brawls for telegram broadcasts and trading pub donations for Elon Musk's legal funding. The primary vehicle for delivering this agenda is the Trojan horse of free speech. The outer shell, the shield, is built from co-opted progressive concepts: free speech, human rights, LGBT plus tolerance, and protecting women. But the core, the hidden payload, is a targeted vitriolic anti-Muslim agenda designed to incite sectarian divides. Experts note this is a cynical wedge issue. By positioning the right to free speech as a core Western value under threat, Robinson forces a false dichotomy that insulates himself from criticism while mainstreaming his true agenda. Who is the target audience for this messaging? The target profile is predominantly young white working class men. Economically, this demographic is disproportionately armed by deindustrialization, suffering from genuine economic disenfranchisement and frequently trapped in low-paying, zero-hour contract jobs. Psychologically, they feel deeply abandoned by mainstream politicians, the media, and traditional political institutions. The setup specifically engineers his populist anti-elite anger to appeal directly to this group's legitimate pain and feelings of invisibility, solely for his own financial extraction. How is this anger mechanically mobilised? An April 2026 study by the University of Bath analysed over 230 messages and 156 multimedia posts from Tommy Robinson's Telegram channel. Their cool finding: Robinson operates as an online opinion leader who shapes how followers interpret events, legitimising violence without ever issuing direct commands. He uses key framing tactics, reframing violent rioters as the concerned British public, amplifying emotive narratives around child safety and blaming the state for the violence by claiming they pushed the British too far. This relies on what researchers call indirect mobilization, operating squarely in the orange zone of the lawful but awful spectrum. He completely avoids the red zone of explicit incitement, leaving his followers to cross the line for him. By using emotional appeals and parasocial audience relations, he creates a psychological pressure cooker. The accumulation of dozens of messages that individually don't breach UK speech laws allow for complete plausible deniability. The ultimate proof for the grift is the asymmetry of consequence. Let's look at the followers versus the leader. Following violent protests agitated by Robinson, dozens of working-class followers are funnelled into the criminal justice system. 50 people bore the permanent costs of criminal records and incarceration. Meanwhile, Robinson's reality consists of driving a £170,000 Bentley, securing Spanish residency, taking 6 luxury Mediterranean holidays in 2025 and launching transatlantic media tours. Which brings us to the final ledger. Tommy Robinson is not a political dissident, nor is he a working-class hero. He's a highly sophisticated conflict entrepreneur. The digital chaos you see is not a byproduct of his activism. The chaos is the product, and he is the primary shareholder. Patriotism builds communities. Grifting destroys them.